how's you in contact with Troy?
I had emailed him. I'm going to email him, every week about the show and everything, the topics and stuff. So I'm probably going to have to get a convo with him.
No communication lately, though.
Just by via email, I shoot him out, let him know what the topics are on the show. But I gotta, yeah, I'm gonna get a convo with him.
Last we spoke, it was some expansion going on, right? Like
Yeah,
they went to the West Coast or something.
yeah, and I gotta get back and get in convo with him with that. And that was before all this.
Right. For all the madness.
Yeah, for all the madness.
I'm gonna be cranked up soon, man. My website and stuff. What I'm gonna do is once I get it cranked up, I'm hoping it'll be sooner than later.
Okay.
To be able to grab the footage from the show.
Cool.
So you got another.
So that's where you went there. You went to San Fran with all this going on. You went to San Fran for a little bit.
Huh?
Yeah. I'm about to switch it up, man. I can't represent South. I'm about to switch
Hey, I got some news too. I was talking to this lawyer. He said he would want his information on our sports show.
Oh, okay.
He told me to shoot him a price and everything. What he will, how much he would want to do.
Backgrounds that.
Yeah.
I forgot how I did it.
That's what we're looking for, right?
Yeah.
A couple sponsors.
Definitely.
And, your cousin said the same thing though with his real estate thing too. So
all right.
we probably figure out a way like to have stuff going past the bottom of the screen or something like.
Yeah, we can always, this was this segment is sponsored by with it up there, and I can post stuff to the joint, no problem. That's easy. Give me a logo, give me the thing. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to play the intro music and then go live, and then I'm gonna cut the music, and then we're gonna rap. Let me put this over here. Let me see.
Doug, what's happening?
What's happening, man?
See what it is. Beautiful, man.
I can't go with my mom sewing stuff in the background. Go with that one, though.
They're gonna do with Dak, man.
He gonna pay him. I think Jerry just waiting for everything to open up so he can have his press conference.
Jerry, something else, ain't he, man?
Jerry got to have a moment, man. You can't do this over Twitter.
Listen, man. You know you can't win with what you have, so you're going to get something just in case he hold out.
Listen, you remember Zeke? Remember Zeke press conference? They made how much money they make off them T-shirts.
Yeah.
It's time to pay the man.
There ain't
time. Absolutely.
There ain't passing up an opportunity, man.
It's crazy how the amount of cheese they talking about is crazy, man.
Listen, man, you gotta pay, man.
You gotta pay. I'll tell you what, man, they got some great insurance. That's what they got.
Especially when they're gonna make
Sports Talk Live for the culture. Sports Talk Live for the culture. How's it going, people? As you can see, we're already getting it in right here with the debation, with the discussion. Jonathan, how you doing, man? Oh, you eating, so I know you're doing good. Duke, how you doing?
Oh, it's wonderful. It's beautiful outside.
Yeah, Doug, how you maintaining, man?
I'm great, man. Great.
Yeah, guys. Definitely, it's beautiful outside. The weather is changing. Will we get some sports? That's the whole thing moving forward. So on today's show, what I wanted to do is to take a look at the leagues and get your guys' opinion on: is it possible? Is it feasible? Can these leagues come back? And if they do, can they play without fans? How can they move forward post COVID-19? But first of all, we got to get the okay, even to try to move forward with it. But it's been a lot of discussions, different things along those lines from different people, different states moving forward. But one thing is there's been a push, definitely, to get the major league sports back moving forward. All leagues have pretty much been shut down since the quarantine, since the lockdown rules have went in place. Everybody's been speculating when can they start, when can they practice, moving forward, all major leagues. And I want to talk about the NBA, because the NBA was in the midst of their season, and the NBA was the first league to say, look, we're suspending play. We had a few players test positive moving forward. Now there's been some discussion that the Lakers are going to open up practice, in June 1st. The league has really not made anything definitive on what they're going to do for the rest of the season. So what do you think with the NBA? You think they're going to come back with a shortened season, no fans, and is it even possible? What do you guys think?
I think they're gonna come back with a shortened season. I think they want to, and I guess in this time, any money you make is
Better than no money.
Yeah, any business that's making money, right now is doing good. So I think they're gonna come back. I think they're gonna figure out a way to kind of. I think the one idea I heard was they're gonna try to quarantine everybody like in one location, and they kind of lock them down, and they playing in one arena and things like that.
So in Vegas, I heard that a lot of talk. There's been some talk about Vegas.
Vegas gave a whole strip tour, and Disney gave the whole Disney tour. They told them they can play in Disney or they can play in Vegas. That's where they have the big locations at.
Yeah.
To house all those people. Of course, Vegas is going to get a strip tour. Vegas is going to open a couple of casinos. Vegas ain't playing around.
Pretty much. I think that they are going to do something, all because they can actually run into the summer. I think because they can run into the summer, it's on their side. Because if they started, they were talking about June 1st opening, right?
Mm-hmm. Just getting in practice, let people get their legs together, Yeah,
let people get their. But I think because the summer, what's being played during the summer? It's just baseball, right?
Yeah.
So I think that that plays to their advantage, because it's not like they're coming into a full-fledged football season,
Yeah.
So it gives us prime time in the NBA that we've never had ever in the summer.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't watch a lot of TV in the summer, but I do think that there'll be people tuning in to the NBA in the summer.
Yeah, definitely, because they run the WNBA in the summertime, so they got arenas, they got venues. Right. I think the number one thing is the safety issue with the COVID-19. So the venues are there, and the ability to play and schedule games, because like you said, Duke, the only thing going on in the summer is baseball, and people are vacationing. So there is an opportunity there to definitely, play and advance and have, NBA basketball during the summer months. Shaq had commented and said they should cancel the season because if anybody wins this chip, it's going to be an asterisk by it, and they're not really going to look at it. What do you guys feel about shortened seasons and asterisks about those?
It is, but we still honor Duncan's ring. You know what I'm saying, for the lockout, which I don't, because I knew if Shaq was in shape, that would have been our ring, and we would have had a 4 straight that year,
Or if Jerry Krause wasn't a nut, that would have been the Bulls ring. So
like we talked before, we would have got to see Kobe and Mike go at it in the championship. Something we didn't get to see. We didn't get to see LeBron and Kobe, because of Orlando, but we would have got to see that. You know what I mean? And we know the Lakers would have pulled that out, but we'll talk. That's another discussion, you know. But yeah, we honor Duncan's first ring. You know, we don't knock it on him, but we did at first. So what that goes to say is with time, it will just become regular. You know, because at first, that's a lockout season. You know, that don't count. We did that in the beginning, especially me being, Lakers and Spurs rivalry. You know, so. But now I just say, okay, the man got the rings. You know, like I don't knock his rings no more. So with time, it'll go away. But for us, we gonna always have it in our mind. You know.
I disagree. I don't think it'll be an asterisk, and I'm gonna tell you why. This is just like a guy like Shaq, right? And he's a great player. He wants to increase his value even more by saying, I got 4 rings, and this guy only got 2, or this guy only got 1. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, Jonathan, is there any Super Bowls that have an asterisk next to it?
Well, it wasn't a lot. I mean, I didn't witness a lockout season Super Bowl, so it was.
The Redskins won the shortened season lockout Super Bowl.
Sunni, hold up, Sunni. Hold up, I'm talking to the young fella. I didn't witness it. There's no Super Bowl champ that we can. There's no champ that you could think of that they say right off the top of your head, their championship has an asterisk. Nobody.
Other than Patriots.
Well, they talk New England because of Spygate, but that's it. That's in this new era.
Spygate, Deflategate.
Nobody speaks on the strike certain seasons played with replacement players.
The tuck rule.
Nope. Nobody speaks on the strike certain season that was played with replacement players. Teams actually won the division and made it to the playoffs based on what their replacement players did while they wasn't there, and then teams went on to the Super Bowl. And that bowl, you don't know which Super Bowl that is. You don't know who won that Super Bowl that year. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah. Well, Zion, that's what if I don't know, I can't speak on it. But Zion,
because history don't speak on it. That's the point I'm making.
Zion is going to be upset because Zion don't make the playoffs now. Mm-hmm. He says he would have made the playoffs and could have made a run.
Do you think? But they've been talking about playoff expansion also along with the shortened season. They're talking about adding some more teams into the playoffs, for revenue and to peak interest. Yeah, exactly. So there's going to be discussion. I think there's going to be some modification on the playoff structure and how many teams are in the playoffs along those lines. I think those things are going to come. The other question is the participation of it. If you're the Players Association or if you're the players, you're the coaches, do you want to participate? How many players do you think may say, hey, I don't know about this, getting back and fully involved? Because there's such a diverse opinion on the timing and opening of America's economies that some players may not feel like, hey, we sure you want to do this?
I think everybody will be on board. Reason being is because I think it's more like, like I can go to Doug and let me in his house. Sunni, you'll let me in your house. Duke will let me in your house. That's how they feel. Like they all feel that they're brothers. You know what I mean? So I don't think that they.
It is the ultimate brotherhood.
Yeah. So I think that they already had each other. AD has already been practicing with LeBron.
Well, they didn't feel that way with Magic. You know what I mean? and that you had to get real close with that. So
they thought you was dying as soon as you got touched. That's why the coach did the joint with no gloves on. Remember he wiped Magic blood up with no gloves to show everybody. That was just uneducated.
Yeah, that was dangerous.
Yeah,
right. But he did it to show everybody that it's not that easy to get it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that was Magic.
Aren't they taking precautions like they're supposed to test everybody? Everybody's negative. That's going to be around the team.
Doug, and you bring out a good point. The commissioner of the NBA was saying at one point in one time, and I don't know how many tests they have now. He couldn't, in good faith, as the masses and general public, as bus drivers and people like that, don't have kits to get tested, that we grab up all these kits and test all these millionaire NBA basketball players when you have frontline essential workers who don't have the ability to be tested. So so the commissioner of the NBA was feeling those lines. So it's a lot of things going into trying to move forward with a season and get and test. And you don't want to take a PR hit either. And I'll discuss. We'll get into that with the Major League Baseball.
You don't want to take a PR hit.
Yeah. So
I think that it will be an asterisk, all dependent on who wins the championship.
Yeah.
So if the expected or the elite don't win, that's when we'll hear if we know what'll happen.
It'll be an asterisk.
I think that's the only way.
It's going to be an asterisk if it's not your team that wins,
or one of the top teams,
or if you have no fans there and you have a great raucous home court advantage. And then now you don't have that
downstairs.
It makes things that may happen. So it's crazy.
Sauce for your ass.
I think
your boys talking about people with bringing stuff. I don't know, man.
With
my job is done.
I think with the asterisk thing, like I said, man, even though you say you talk about Duncan and them having the asterisk because of the the lockout season, but nobody ever says that. Nobody says Tim Duncan has 5, but 1 is an asterisk. So
we say it in the hood.
We say a lot of stuff. We say a lot of stuff in the hood.
But we do say it.
I've never said it.
It hasn't been said.
I never said
it. We don't say it because how about regardless, Tim Duncan probably is the best power forward to ever play the game.
And
we don't have to question anything. We don't have to question anything about him.
And everybody
the guy who played 3 years and his numbers are shaky, and he wins one,
and he never gets another one. This is the only one he gets. He don't go get 4 more like Duncan.
Right now we got a whole bunch of questions.
But here's the interesting part: you restart the season, you start playing, you get in the mix. Somebody comes down with COVID.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Well, now LeBron got to sit. I think the number one problem is right now. I don't think it's about the players.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more so about the league protecting itself.
Right.
That's what I think all this is, because it's so many different scenarios that you could come up with to somebody being compensated. All right, so what happens? Because when you're dealing with stuff like this, it's new to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, and sometimes the rules, whatever rule you come up with, something will happen that wasn't in the rule book. So if that happens and it wasn't in the rule book, guess who's going to have to pay out their ass?
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, the league's going to have to pay. So I think they don't even know how many scenarios it could possibly be from if you come up with COVID, God forbid that you die.
Mm-hmm.
What happens? Does the league end up paying your full salary? Do they end up, is it negligence? Is it what? I think that's where they're at.
I think some waivers are going to need to be signed.
There's no question. There's no question.
I want to know if Kawhi gets COVID and he's playing Game 5 against LA Kawhi or LeBron gets it. Do they throw it on the mat? You know what I'm saying? Does it come out that he had it?
We got to come out because health concerns.
You're not going to hide that from nobody.
You putting everybody else's life at risk, and then their family's life at risk.
Because they signed the ability for their medical records to be known, especially for betting and stuff like that. So when you're on sports teams, they can publish that you got a strained ligament or whatever. Going against the HIPAA laws and stuff along those lines. So, but yeah,
I think you figure teams got an advantage too. Look at the Sixers; they were coming down to the end of the season, and Ben Simmons was out.
Yeah,
he was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
They restart the season; he gonna be back healthy,
and they could have dropped further.
Yeah,
right.
But look, Barkley and Duncan had an interview when Duncan was going to get his second chip. And Barkley said, all right, now you're going to win your first chip. Duncan said, I got one already. He said, no, now you're going to win your first chip. Duncan said, I got one already. When Barkley said it again, Barkley said that one don't count. Duncan said, "Would you count it?"
Yeah.
then he paused though, like, I ain't got no rings. You damn right I'm gonna count them. Like Barkley was like, you damn right. So then he left it alone. He was like, would you count it? He was like, yeah. And he ain't say nothing. He paused. Then Duncan was like, okay. He's like, but I am gonna win my second ring. I'm gonna go get my second ring. They had like a little sit down drink. I don't know if any of y'all had caught it.
But I think you know, the NBA moving forward, they have, I think, the best opportunity because of just the viewership and the interest, even without.
Well, the real problem is going to be when do they start next season?
Yeah.
That's going to be the real problem.
Yeah.
Like,
start next season maybe in December. Maybe start next season in January.
You know what I mean? Like,
there may be a shift. There may be a shift.
So my question is, where, when they do start, if they start,
yeah, how many games you gonna cut off for next season? You gonna make
like how many? When are you, when you start? When is the end? Like if you start in July, when are you ending? Like end of August?
They want to have it Labor Day weekend, have everything ripped up before the NFL starts.
By September.
Yeah.
So you're looking at a 2-month season.
Yeah, 2-month season. And
essentially, if they start in December, that would be pretty much what happened with the lockout. So they already have a precedent for starting the next season later. You know what I mean? So I mean, they could do it. You know, it's just not should they do it? You know what I mean? Right. Some will argue that by playing the league, that'll be, you know, a welcome distraction for everybody that's stuck in the house every day that can't go out. You know what I'm saying? And it'll be something, you know, for them to look at and watch. And then some will say that, you know, it's not worth it. Is it worth it for that one guy to get it and then die? You know what I mean? Like, so you know.
You know, I'm you know, I'm at a crossroad with it.
If he died, he died.
You think Carl Anthony Towns want to play? Carl Anthony Towns want to come back and play with this right now? But his mother passed away?
Yeah.
Or any of his teammates or anybody that was close
lost,
to him?
Or some of people that lost. Back. Yeah. People that lost, people that have played, and family and relatives.
And I don't mean like come back because, you know, people die all the time. I mean come back while this is still a threat.
Yeah.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
I definitely think certain teams should not play. If it's not worth playing for you, you know, like.
Well, you're part of the organization.
If you're gonna get bounced out in the first round, I might sit it out.
And I mean, look, if it's, and I saw somewhere where they said it had by not finishing this season had ramifications, not playing the playoffs, as far as the next CBA or something, you know, things like that. I don't know. You know, of course, we don't know the ins and outs of the CBA, but I just read somewhere so that was part of the reason why they wanted to finish the season and get into the playoffs, you know, to honor the TV, you know, contracts or whatever. Things like that. But, you know, ultimately, man, it's an individual decision, just like the rest of us. My company is still at work. I could really say I don't feel safe going to work, and I'm pretty sure they would let me stay home without paying me and not fire me. You understand what I'm saying? Yep. Because who wants
the same thing with my job?
How would that PR look if you fire a guy because he doesn't feel safe coming to work in the middle of a pandemic? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I can imagine that if a guy says, "Hey man, I know I'm slated to make $40 million and I already made $20 million of that and I got $15 million left to go or whatever, but I don't want it. Y'all can keep it. I'm gonna stay home with my family." What you gonna do to that guy? What's gonna happen? He got his year in. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You gonna take a year of service away from this guy because he didn't want to risk his life and his safety and his family's life and safety? Come on, man. This is really uncharted.
Yeah. You know, it sounds like that that the league itself, they want to get it going, but at the same time, when we have these conversations, it sounds like that they trying to rush everything, and I don't think that's a good thing because of the extent of COVID.
Because no one knows. I mean, just in planning, just anything. My school district just canceled the senior prom, which I was in a meeting saying like you really can't have a prom because you don't know what's going to be available, what's going to open up. They were trying to do it in July, and most of the seniors anyway by July they're moving on to college anyway. Like they're trying to, they're not trying to kick out dough. They're trying to by July you trying to put all your money into look, I need a refrigerator for the dorm. I need, all this other stuff. I'm trying. You done moved on from that, or you joined the service, or you going on. So a lot of times it's just up in the air, and a lot of times you really can't see or tell.
With the shower, where you shower at, where you brush
definitely.
your teeth, where all that.
It's like you can't do that. So looking to move forward,
listen,
it's going to be interesting.
Listen, my nephew wanted a Bentley. I promised my nephew a Bentley this year. I was like, how the hell would go with this Bentley? I ain't got to go with this Bentley now.
Bentley, good God.
You gonna come up with that Bentley?
Yo, I don't got to. It ain't no problem.
There's no problem. They had to be 6 feet away anyway. So I mean, like
he wanted it for prom. There's no problem. Bentley's gone.
He gonna find a way to keep his uncle. To
remember that Bentley you promised me.
You figure the NBA sort of does have kind of like a template of sorts because, like you said, Orlando and Vegas, they already play the summer leagues there, so they house the teams during those. So they can do it. You know what I'm saying? Especially when like the MGM has this arena inside of there.
Yeah,
so they can house the players in there and test them. Everybody's negative. The staff, the coaches, the players. You can't come in unless you're negative.
Yeah, you figure
hotel unless you get tested.
You figure too. If we talk about just the NBA, all right. So, what are we? 32 teams. What are we, like 500 players?
Yeah.
So it's not. It's and then you add coaches and So
the
what
MGM
do you
can house?
So what are you at 700?
Yeah.
And then you got
PR,
so
everything like that, coaches.
It's not a lot of people, and there are places and there are hotels and 5-star hotels where services can be provided for 700 people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you think about it. Is all the escorts going to be tested? Because nobody gonna know where it came from middle of the season. It's like everybody's been tested, everybody's been staying together. Listen, where did it come from? If they gonna get tested.
If you think about it, man, the MGM, I just keep using the MGM.
Yeah, that's what they've talked to the MGM. The MGM has made it bearable.
You can literally put a team on a floor, an entire team having their own floor, team, staff, families.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got your room with your kids or whatever. Everybody's tested. You could do that if you wanted to do that. Yeah. The TV networks that's going to ESPN or TNT or ABC, whoever, they can have a floor. You can do it.
Yeah, it's 1,000 people. 1,000 people is not a lot,
And they would never have to leave the MGM.
Right, and MGM owns the Monte Carlos, which is right across the street. Well, they changed to the MGM Grand now, so the both of them is there, so they can be in both.
You would never have if you pick a
so the escorts would be in New York. So it sounds like y'all guys are trying to set up a sports talk show in Vegas. That's what it sounds like.
Hey man, let's get there. We stay in New York.
Yeah. definitely. But I want to jump into the Major League Baseball because Major League Baseball was interesting. Bryce Harper and Snell got into a conversation and people reacted to it. They're saying, look, unless you're going to pay me my whole salary, I'm not trying to be about this shortened season and not getting every single dollar that I deserve. Now,
that
it's
means
interesting.
You got a whole lot of money.
Now, it's interesting.
That means you got a whole lot of money.
Bryce Harper signed a 13-year guarantee, $300 million. It's interesting because I understand where they're coming from. In times of greatness, in times of, things are going really well, owners don't come to the Players Association and say, look, we're going to give you a little extra on the top. You tip, the TV revenue we just negotiated. But we really, the beer sales and the sands and everything was really popping this summer. We're going to give you a little bit more. They don't come to the players for that. Now, during a time of distress, and this is a great distress, they're saying, look, we're going to prorate, or we're going to also, since if we have games without fans, we're losing revenue on ticket sales, we're losing revenue on parking, we're losing revenue on alcohol sales, food sales, and everything like that. We're going to have to take some more money from you guys. And it was interesting because you can see their point, but at the same time, if you disagree, I don't think you disagree as a player. For me, when we talk about PR, I don't think once you say that publicly, you let your players association take care of that, because people are going to look at you.
He might know something that we don't. Speaking like that,
with 33 million people unemployed, they're like, well, darn, dude, like you got, you they just talk about not paying you for games you didn't play and moving forward. So what do you guys think about that situation? It's kind of
hey man, they got to get paid for hazardous pay too. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You paying everybody else, that's all or nothing. Mm-hmm. Pay me for all or nothing. Like I'm still risking my life at a higher level now.
I tend to look at it. People look at sports and they look at the money that they make and they kind of put it in a different bag or whatever. Me, I look at sport to see business, right? The same business, the same type of company that all of us work for and pay us for. If it was only 50 people that could do our job that we do for our company and they make the money they make, we would make what athletes make.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But it takes 500 people to run the plant that I work at.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we get paid how we get paid. But so, I mean, imagine your boss telling you that you got to come to work and we want you to work. You risking your health. And, oh, by the way, we only going to pay you X amount of which we supposed to pay you.
Yeah. 1/4.
Because like you said, as the owner of the company, I'm not taking a hit. You take the hit. Or if I got to take the hit, you got to take the hit.
It passes that down. Yeah.
Right. But if you own a company or I own a company right now, you know what I'm saying? I'm taking a hit. Like right. I can't tell my employees right now, if I own a small business, hey, come to work and I'm going to keep getting my cut of the money, but I need you to work for half price because you should, because it's just so you can be a great American. It's a pandemic.
But it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people though. They don't. And Doug, you were right on when you said it's the business aspect. Let's be real. A lot of people don't understand the business aspect because we're dealing with professional athletes. Like they're not in the same realm as us. So you might as well throw that out. And I hear people often say, "Oh no, they offered this guy $30 million. I'll play for 20." That means you don't understand business. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's not about that. So the minute that you say, "Okay, I'm taking a pay cut to do this," the owner makes the money. It's like you did him a favor by keeping money in his pocket. Like who does that?
Right. Yeah. But that's like
less money, so the owner doesn't have to pay. Like who does that stuff? You want your worth, and you want what the market is set for. That's what you want. You don't say no. You don't say no. Okay,
I think the owners know they can leverage the players. See, I think it's the owners know it's very tough for the players to come out and say, "Look, give me my full $25 million a year." Right? Mm-hmm. That's going to be looked at negatively, and a lot of players don't want to come, even though they feel that way. They 100% feel that way. They don't want to come out and say it. Like
it's kind of frustrating for me, and I'm not in pro sports, but in a world where the owner, billionaire, okay, we're gonna lay off the peanut guy, the popcorn guy, the hot dog guy, and then it's the player that works for the owner to say, you know what, I'm gonna pay their salary.
Embiid.
So why is the player who gets paid by the owner paying the salary of the workers that work for the owner? Yeah. Why don't the owner just pay their salary? But nobody pushes that. It's always
nobody understands.
Well, that was the big thing with the Sixers. That was the big thing with the Sixers when they started saying that the owner said they were going to cut, and they took a big hit, and then B stepped up and said, "Look, I'll cover that, whatever." Yeah. And then they pushed back from that,
And but the people will say themselves. The people will say themselves, "Oh, well, that was good that he did that. He has it. He can do it." What about the owner? Like the guy works for the owner, like you said, but nobody says the owner should pay.
Yeah. But like what Sunni said though, when the ticket sales is up, when the bobbleheads is up, when the jersey sales is up, when all that stuff is up, the owner The owner don't say, "Oh, we was on these."
Nah, not at all. Not at all.
They hit 5. We hit 10. So we gonna kick everybody back a little something on the back end. Where does that come in at? Oh yeah, we sold out. We normally don't sell out every season, but we sold out every season this year. So we gonna throw y'all a kickback this year.
Right.
But now, since y'all down,
right.
I'm trying to figure out how they were able to come up with this business model to where they hold out on the employee, they hold out on all the workers, and then the public takes the side of the owner.
Yeah. Right.
This is the only industry where this happens at in professional sports. Any other industry where the owner, the company is holding out on the workers, the world is on the workers' side. Oh, that's crazy. They shouldn't have to do that. They shouldn't have to do that. Pay them their worth. I'm with you. SEPTA, I'm with you. Verizon, I'm with you. You know,
the reason why, like you said, SEPTA, Amtrak, all up, they get paid when we getting paid. So that's why they saying, oh no, they definitely should. They only get paid $20 an hour. Oh yeah, they should get 25.
Right.
Now when you see somebody getting 25 million, it's like, whoa, you old up because they saying they ain't giving you 5 million. How you going? That's still 20 million you getting. Like you said, they not understanding what this man is worth. This man is worth the whole 30 million.
And
owners don't take pay cuts. You know what I'm saying?
People don't understand the value. And I'll tell this little story. When I first started, I worked for Prime Star, which was a satellite dish company. When Mike Tyson got out of jail and then he started boxing again, it was unreal. Like when was it a Tyson fight on a Saturday, we would hire more people to take calls. We would go to temp work agencies, bring in about 50 people. We also would cater the total event. Like the company would go cater the whole event. We would get paid overtime or whatever. So you bringing in about 100, 125 people, full catered. Just the residual effects of the economy that goes on with these sports is and by what the athletes generate, because they're not there to see the promoter. They weren't there to see Don King. They weren't there to see the owner of the of the arena. They were there to see Mike Tyson knock somebody the hell out. Like, and that was the whole thing. And that's the whole aspect of it from entertainment aspect that people don't see. And like when we talked about the scheme, we talk about college. People are there to see the players play, and they don't generate the revenue they get back from what they generate. And that's the same thing. And people see from the shamateurism that they grow up in. And now once they get into the professionals, they always lay it on the professional player. Like, oh, well, you should take the pay cut, whatever. But why should I take the pay cut, or why should I do that when the owner owns it? He's worth way more than me.
Listen, if they pull this off, the owner's gonna be all sitting back saying, "Look, we made more money than the regular season."
Absolutely.
If they pull this off, we made more money than we made with a regular season. If they able to knock everybody for a couple million, 10 million, they able to take 10, 20 million off everybody's time.
That's what typically happens when it's a drought.
The bonuses win. The numbers go up, the prices go up.
And they're gonna take that money and put it in, and they're gonna take that money and I think the thing about baseball too, I think their players agreement is up in 2020, so it's all about that also. So they don't really want to, and I think from the players' point of view and what's going on, they don't want to have a labor war during a pandemic. That's what the owners really don't want that. Because baseball. Because baseball, is trying to thrive, as we get to a microwave society and people don't have, the stamina to watch a baseball game or get into the intricacies of it as on sports on TV, and there's a billion other channels now. So the last thing they want to do is get into a labor war over money during these times. So it'll be interesting to see how Major League Baseball pans out.
And baseball don't want the NBA to open up. Let's talk about that.
Oh,
man,
it'll definitely be competition.
All right.
Baseball, like we already 6 feet apart. All our players is already 6 feet apart
yeah.
the whole time.
Yeah. It's only the pitcher and the catcher and the umpire. Where's the situation?
That's it. Yeah, that's it. You know, everybody else is 6 feet apart easily.
And you always taking the lead off first base, so, or second. So, I mean,
yeah. So they're like, look, we always spread apart. Look, we can play,
and we just got to have a bigger dugout. Like everybody just spread out a little bit. But it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Well, they can sit in the front row. Ain't no stands. You know?
Yeah.
Just hop over, and get your back.
Spread out all over the place. It's gonna be. Yeah, but I think they're going to come along and find some agreement. I think the players, they were agreeing to the prorated, games. Like, okay, if we missed 10, 12 games. But no one thought it was going to go this long. I think that's what the problem was. No one saw it being into June, going into July. So when you talk about missing, 162 games, all right, we missed about 10 or 12 games, whatever. We'll move forward on that. All right, I'll eat that. But now you're talking about 60, 70, 80 games.
And half the season, we pushing up close to the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Once you get into June.
Yeah. So I think that's what the issue was now. And then the talk was, well, we're not getting any of that stadium revenue. You're going to have to take that hit too. That's when.
Hey, listen. All you got to do is do what they normally do. Send Uncle Sam your losses and everything's lovely.
And we'll see how that
they know the game.
Look, you know how easy baseball is, right? Like baseball players, they take off like if they get like a paper cut. So the injury is just gonna go up. That's what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, all right, I ain't playing no games. So now you paid me for 40 games. That's good. I'm just sitting home anyway. So now you're gonna lose players, and once players find that other players are doing it, it's gonna be like what you saying, Doug. It's gonna be the what they call it players develop what's their
the minor league.
It's gonna be the minor league players playing, and they gonna get that ring.
So you just said baseball players are soft and they get hurt.
Well, I actually heard this on like a sports joint that they really do like take off. They get a paper cut or something. They take off. Like I heard.
So I was a baseball player at one time. I mean, if you're a pitcher,
Doug was a catcher.
You can't pitch with a paper cut on your index finger.
All right, I'm just saying what it was. I ain't take no shot at you, brother. Don't feel no type way because you had a paper cut and you had to take off. Like it is what it is.
Doug was a catcher. Doug was a catcher, known as back catcher in the hood, but he was a catcher.
Yeah. It's all right.
Definitely.
Could you play with a paper cut as a back catcher?
Yeah, I could.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah, definitely. I want to jump into the NFL, the National Football League, as we talk. The NFL has been moving right along, like, there's nothing to see here. We drafting under COVID terms. We haven't changed any dates moving forward, and they also released their schedule. There hasn't been any real talk because the season doesn't start till September 13th, and they just have your games, your preseason games, which they don't want to play anyway, so you could really knock them out. But the NFL has, out of all the leagues, and I guess doing the timing and the largeness and the size of them, and everybody, the last thing people want to see canceled is the NFL. They sacrifice all the rest of the stuff for the NFL. You can have the NBA, you can have the Major League Baseball, NHL, you can have MLS. You can take all that, but let's get this baseball season on and popping as we move forward. With Goodell and all them coming together, do you think everything's going to be on time with football? Because they haven't shown a lot of flex, as you talk about, moving forward.
Well, if it's no if the NFL is pushed back, then there's no chance of basketball season being started. You know, so if the NFL is pushed back, how do you start basketball if the NFL is going to push back? If baseball goes further into September, everybody's going to have to push back their time. To me,
well, I don't think you can play baseball into November, December. So I mean, yeah.
Not unless you get one of them. Unless you start playing in them.
Indian summer.
Their practice stadiums that's indoors.
Yeah, they would have to play inside the domes, inside the indoor stadiums. But
yeah,
I think if football isn't gonna fly, I don't think anything else is flying.
Yeah.
So I think honestly, I think them getting the NBA started and trying to get the baseball started is all like a test run to see if they can play football.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's
because if football don't start, the basketball season can't start because you figure you got to start the next season.
And out of all the sports, COVID was spread in football. Like football's the most contact.
They had the better timing. They have more lag time, more.
Yeah, the window is open longer for football.
For football, you know, even if football started, you know, in November, it would still be okay. You know, you can't start basketball season in November.
My thing is, I think what everybody's missing out on is, and we can take this back to the NBA lockout. Remember? You know, we saw a lot of people that were just really out of shape.
Yeah.
And some of them never went back to being in playing shape.
Yeah.
So you talk about having a training camp, like guys right now, some of them, you know, you got your guys, they gym rats. You don't have to worry about them. You know, the LeBrons, those type of guys. You know, the Chris Pauls, they stay in the gym. James Hardens, they stay in the gym. But that's only a select few. Yeah. So some of these guys actually need a full 30 days to get right. Somebody's 20 pounds overweight, you know?
Yeah.
And they need this camp to get themselves together because guess what I don't want to see as a fan? I don't want to see no garbage basketball because you're out of shape and you're playing these games that we watching on TV to get in shape. I don't want to see that. So you talk about needing 30 days to do that. So if they start in June, do you then pick up in July? Now, as far as football, you're not playing any football without a training camp. That's not happening. It's not like, okay, we're going to do this for a week or two, and then we're going to play these games. It doesn't happen in football, right? You got to be out there click-clacking, and you need those 6 weeks of camp. You need them.
Yeah.
So now you want to start the season later. Do you shorten the season to 12 games? Do you run it? The season, the Super Bowl, is the Super Bowl now in March? Like, what happens, you know?
I think they would probably shorten the season, but I mean, like I said, I think basketball and baseball is going to be the test run to see if they can, what they can do with football. Do they have to play without fans?
Do you think the playing without fans? Do you think? I mean, this seems like it would be very difficult.
I think basketball has needed the fans the most out of all three sports. I don't think I think football can be fully televised. I think baseball can go to radio. You know, I think you can just hear baseball. You know, not like a knock on it or whatever, but you can't just hear basketball.
No. Baseball in my era of growing up, my grandfather on the transistor radio on the back porch, or maybe before they even a little TV, that was baseball.
Like, yeah, but basketball.
Like, baseball, you have the baseball game on while you're painting the living room.
Yeah, but basketball, you need to see the windmill dunk.
Yeah,
you know, like, you need that. Like football, you can watch it. Like
the way baseball is set up is kind of really orchestrated. You know what's going to happen. The pitcher's going to get it. He's going to get a count, and he's going to throw it to the pitcher, and he's going to try to get it.
Okay, he just hit the home run.
Yeah,
you know, I think 260 through the legs.
I think that for us, as a viewer, we won't have a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, because plays are going to be plays, and competitors are going to compete. So we'll enjoy that.
Mm.
For the player, that's going to be the ultimate struggle because, you used to listen, it's 50,000 at a football game.
Yeah.
Right? So they're accustomed to somebody roaring and running up in the stands
The momentum.
and giving somebody a football, just the whole ambiance of the fans is the fans are part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take them out psychologically, it's going to do something to everybody,
Right. As we all play pickup ball, and that game where somebody get a steal, breakaway steal, get a layup, a dunk, and everybody like, yo, it's done, man. Basketball, you don't even finish that last game, you just, all right, man, it's done. Well, that's going to give you to feel some time. You come through, you come down, make a three. James Harden makes a three. He's up one. He makes a three. In Houston, the crowd supposed to go crazy. You don't get to hear that. So now you don't even know when to use your timeouts. Like normally you base your timeouts on the crowd. Like
the momentum.
You don't know.
I think
the coach.
Now what I can say, and I can vouch for players in the NBA that I've been around and I watched them compete where there's no one in the stands. They don't have a problem, because there's at least for the great ones, there's a chip already there that I'm better. And regardless of if there are fans in the stands, I cannot let you beat me, and the other players are going to let me know that he was
come back in the hour.
So we can't forget about those bragging rights because that's why everybody competes. I'm better than you. How many times have we been a part of sports and after the game is over, you looked over at the guy and was like, I don't know who was covering me today, but I know I was roasting somebody. I ain't saying who it is. So they, that's still there. The competitive nature amongst the players is always going to be there, whether there are fans in the stands or not.
But I thought the fans add to the TV ambiance. Like when you make a run and it's going crazy.
How many times have you seen this?
And I'm like, yo, get a timeout, baby.
That's what I said. They're not gonna know when to call timeouts no more.
I think. Well, I think that. Think about it, man. What's the one game that we've been clamoring to see? You know what I mean? And we haven't been able to see that dream team, them dream team practice games. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
With no stands, they ain't even have referees. I don't think, or they they have referees, but the intensity of those games is legendary. The game where they talked about where the rookie guys, Chris Webber and those guys, they beat they beat him that one day.
Yeah.
And they came back the next day and they like murdered him or like so
they ain't scored.
And even to the point of like the summer leagues, the Orlando Summer League, I'm not sure that there's fans in there.
Like a big crowd. Like it's a crowd, not like an NBA crowd.
Yeah.
Right. So you watching the game and it's and they just going, they going hard. And those guys
but it's different. It's different level of sports fans also. Like I can watch boxing with the sound off. It's different level of sports fans. So that's the show too. You want that because you need them players. You want to see that because your level of the sports fan you are. You know what I mean? It's different levels of sports fans that really need that crowd. I just hope they at least, how the stand-up comedians when they do the artificial jokes and the artificial laughs and stuff. Maybe they had put the artificial crowd on there for.
Well, they were talking about that. They were talking about putting in crowd noise or along those lines. Joe Buck was talking about that if there's no fans allowed, that Fox would channel in some noise, when things happen.
I think that's a great idea, man.
Right. At least to give that to people that's not, dedicated sports fans.
But this is probably before this is Jonathan's time, but Duke, you probably remember this. Like around Terry Bradshaw's last game, NBC did an experiment where they broadcast a game with no announcers. and they just had the game.
I do remember that. Sunni, yes.
Yeah, they just had the game play with no announcers. You just heard the crowd noise. They gave you down and distance. If somebody got hurt, who the players were. That the whole game, except for announcers, and it was kind of like you were in the stadium almost. No play-by-play, like you were at the game. So you that was interesting. So I think this is going to be another different.
I think what happens is and listen, that game we talked about when the Steelers didn't have any announcement. I think it's something that's happening right now that all of us are going to have to get accustomed to. It's just what it is. Just like this show, all of us were used to coming down to the studio and jumping on, and but look where we're at now. I know for me from being on, because what's this about what show is this soon that we've done virtual?
About a 6th or 7th show.
Yeah. I've become used to saying, you know what time is it? Let me get up and grab some breakfast, and I might even get a little lunch, and let's see what's going on with the show virtually. Like, I've become used to that. Like, in the beginning, it was like, oh man, we doing a virtual show. Now it's like, okay, we just picked up. You get listen. The bar is open, so the show must go on.
Yeah.
I think that as individuals, man, and society, period, in the world, you figure out ways to adapt to things, and that's what's happening. And technology enables us, to propel into whatever we gotta adjust to,
And I think it's getting to a tipping point because you can only watch so much TV. You only can watch so many shows, and for the sports fans, the people that it's more about the competition. It's more about you want to see a competitive battle. That's what you tune in into, to see competitors at their highest level compete on the biggest stage. And that's what you tune into, and that's the draw of sports. Everything can happen, anything can happen. Every game is different. You can write a different story. What goes on? So I think definitely any aspect that you can give the public of that, people are going to eat it up. I mean, I think because of the drought, they're looking for something to watch, something to do, something to talk about, other than what's been on air. And it's going to be, like Doug said, we'll see coming up, because you have the NBA and Major League Baseball trying to figure this thing out and move forward with COVID. Now, and it'll be interesting because, like you said, what if some states are still like California? They said they're still on lockdown for 3 more months. So
they'll be creeping to other states.
So
other states, Florida opened up their doors, said, "You want to come down here? You can come down here."
But that's great that you bring that up, Sunni, which I thought about during the week when he said he's not opening up. I mean, what do the players do? Do they say, "Okay, I want to transfer"? Now that you tell them they can't because of the pandemic, like, do they miss a season because of the pandemic? So now that California's closed, Florida's open. Do I transfer to Florida State now from UCLA because they're open? Like, it's stuff that we gonna find. It's interesting, man.
I saw a quote from Richard Sherman, and he was like, "That's fine. That means I get to save 13% more in taxes because I don't have to pay the California tax. I can just, I guess California got one of the highest taxes or whatever."
Oh yeah.
He's like, "Shit, that's fine with me."
Yeah, because you go to Florida. Because most players, residents in Florida, because they don't have a state income tax. In Texas, like, so you make your residency. This is where I'm at, even though you there like maybe 10% of the time. That's my residence. That's what a lot of people do. It's interesting because you have individual states doing things differently, and in different parts of the region, different parts of the country have been hit differently.
Even different parts of the state, because upstate PA, they starting to open up stuff.
Yeah, they don't have the dense population too, so maybe
right.
They're not.
But we're not open up. So even the same state, is opening half and half. You know, they're doing, you know, this can do this, but this can't.
Yeah, well, you know, it's you gotta pay attention to how rural these areas are. You know, that's the big key. You got places where you start in Pennsylvania where, you know, you don't see people for miles and miles. You know, like they don't have some problems up there. You know, now when you start coming down closer to into the cities, then you know you gonna have a different set of problems. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you guys think about the other sports like UFC and boxing?
Well, UFC had a fight, right?
Yeah, but I don't even like the boxing matches. You know, moving forward, if the thing, I guess you would just wait till like this goes over. I guess you can watch boxing. You don't really need anybody in the stands, but it's kind of the atmosphere of boxing, the crowd, and the electricity. If anybody's ever been to a big boxing match, just the electricity in the air. I mean, I saw, you know,
I think the boxing needs it. You know, the boxer needs, especially the boxer that doesn't. It's not like the great skill boxer, but he's a great will boxer. He has that will and that heart, and he need that crowd behind him to start pushing him. Once he got hit a couple times, you know, he start bringing it on. You know, I think he might need it. You know, he might need that crowd. You know, to start chanting his name, even though he losing right now. So,
quick thing on boxing, real quick. How much money? If you guys heard the talk about, you know, the heavyweight championship of the world, they want the Gypsy King to fight your man over in England, Jonathan. And they, you know, my man has the rematch clause, but they want him to step aside and said, let's get this English thing on over in England because the money over in England is crazy for this heavyweight title fight. Because your man Joshua already sells out whole arenas, like what, 80,000, 90,000?
Yeah, he's fighting nobody.
fighting me. So we'd be like, so he's about to fight if he fought the Gypsy King over there, you talking about, you know.
They gonna need to build something.
So how much do you think my man should get to step aside?
I think just
that's Deontay Wilder, by the way. Deontay Wilder to step aside.
Yeah, to me,
I think he wants $10 million.
I wouldn't give him nothing. I would just release my belts. Yeah. Like, you don't need a belt. They don't need a belt to make that fight. So just forfeit him.
But do contractually, is there something written if he doesn't give that rematch that he has to come up with some dough? Because I don't know how to
But he can just get if I was Fury, I would just get.
Dude, I need to get my boxing man on here to discuss this.
If I was Fury, I would just get my belts up and then go and fight Joshua. Like,
but if and have them cover the cost or whatever the cost is that you owe Wilder for not giving him the rematch, that has to be negotiated in your next bout.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody's willing to cover it.
And hey, listen, if you want me to step out, it's gonna cost you for me stepping out.
Yeah.
You know, that's the name of that. I'm not going to be in the way of anybody else fighting. Now, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to step aside, but you need to cut me the check, and I'm going to figure a way out for us to get it in again.
After I'm fighting.
So how
he gonna just fight the winner? Yeah, he gonna fight the winner.
Yeah. So I can actually fight both of them. You know, I can fight both of them. You know, so pay me to separate myself, and after y'all get finished whatever y'all doing, I'll fight the winner, and I can fight the guy who lost. It doesn't even matter, you know.
But what if they try to do a trilogy? Like, you know, like they try to do like, oh, this is a barn burner. Let's do that again. You know.
Yeah, and I guess you got to pay me again.
You got to pay me again. You got to pay me, Doug.
If you wildest people
again.
Yeah, if you wildest people, you got to take all that into account. Okay, I'm gonna step aside. But now I know, okay, I'm fighting whoever wins. But if this fight goes down to the wire and it's a super classic, you know, fight of the year type fight, we gonna make more money by doing that again than you fighting one of these. So we'll pay you again. Yeah. We'll give you another 10, 20 to make another 100 million.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you another 10.
200, 300 million. You know what I'm saying? I'll give you 10.
It's like when Marlo met Avon in the jail. It was like Avon's like, yeah, you want to see my man? You're just gonna put something on my books, you know, to my people, and then when next time you come here, you won't be seeing me.
It's that easy, you know.
Yeah, that's the price of doing business. That's all. That's the price of doing business.
Yep, that's it. And I know, just like y'all know, if I was projected to make $300 million for fighting somebody, I'm going to give somebody $10 million. It's easy.
Yeah.
Super easy.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if the pride he wants to fight, regain his belt back, or he wants to do it just as the competitor in him, as the business savvy person would say, look, man, step aside, let them bang it out. You can get the winner of that fight. He may feel as though that, look, I can't get out the mix. Because if I get out the mix and these two guys bang it out, then I'm lost the ability to have that big fight. Because if the Gypsy King knocks out Joshua, then I'm walking. I'm walking back to my tribe in peace. I done everything that I needed to do, and then Joshua and Wilder both been knocked out by the Gypsy King. So we saying, why we got to see these two guys?
Yeah.
so I mean, it's a big risk to take when you step aside, when you pull yourself out of the fray, because if he can get back in and somehow catch the Gypsy King and knock him out and say, look, I got 2 out of 1, or even out, and then you go on and fight Joshua. That's a mega deal, which you've been building up to for a long time. So it is tricky. But if they want to give him $10 million cash, American dollars, to step aside, then
to basically do nothing.
To do nothing.
Basically, you getting $10 million for getting knocked out.
Yeah.
And that $10 million is really like $20 million, because you ain't got to pay nobody.
Yeah.
You got to pay the trainers. You ain't got to pay no. That's your account is going $10 million up.
You know, and it's in there that y'all can do it again, and the price might go up. It might go to 15 next. I don't know.
And then he take that 10, he take a couple tune-ups while they getting their thing on, make another $1 million or $2 million.
Hey,
right.
Sounds like it's a win-win for him.
The boy Louise, he can still make some money. He can fight Louise.
You think he's still viable?
He got knocked. He still can get one more fight before he's completely done.
Tyson's been training him and Evander.
Yeah, they said they might get it on.
Geezers at the Caesars. Come on, man. They 57 years old.
Look, I said Mike is good as long as he don't fight it. As long as he fighting another 60-year-old man. I said he don't need to fight nobody 20. I said the man couldn't go. I said let's be real. Look, we can call him the most dangerous boxer ever. I'm all right with that, but he couldn't go 9 rounds healthy. He couldn't go 9 rounds at 26. So. He can't go 6 now. He can barely go 3. You know what I mean? So if he fighting another 60-year-old man, now okay, all right, we talking something. If he jump in that ring and try to fight, the Gypsy King, it ain't gonna end right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's coming back to do that. But it was just interesting. Like, boxers always feel they got one more left. Like, you may or you may not have that one left. That one left could be your last one.
That might be all you got left to breathe.
You keep messing around. Quick joint I wanted to jump into. Last Dance. We talked about this last week. Final episodes 9 and 10. Michael Jordan. I guess they'll talk about the flu game, or the hangover game. I'm not sure. There's been so many rumors and talked about it. The coming of the 6th championship and moving back. And we had talked, and somebody had brought up, as we talked about last week, the political aspect of it, and we were talking. And I think I heard somebody made a great point that during that time, when they were talking about, speaking out and everything like that, Michael Jordan was like 26 years old. He was like 26, 27 years old. And how many people at 26, 27-year-old, especially your athlete or any field, are politically astute? You know what I mean? Like, you're not just, unless that's what you do. I mean, unless that's what you are and what you are about, moving forward. And it was just real interesting that I thought that somebody had mentioned that they put a lot on him at that time, but you got to look how old he was. He was 26, 27 years old, being a pro athlete, doing things. And many of us regular people at 26 or 27 years old, how much are we politically astute or tuned into politics? Not just on like this, we just talk about the presidential election, but just down and even like senatorial races or even our local government races now. So I think a lot of things that go into it. So I'm looking to see the backdrop on, was it the flu, was it the hangover, how they going to touch that final game, that final series moving forward. Jonathan, do we wrap to you? You've been watching the last Dance, Jonathan?
Yeah, I've been up on it for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was your feeling on it?
On which part? With the
just in general.
I think it opens some people's eyes on things. A lot of LeBron people, is trying to make Pittman out to be, as great as Jordan now. From what they pulled from it.
I gotta see their birth certificates.
Pittman's a great player.
LeBron, people is acting like it was a Shaq and Kobe type thing, both in their prime.
Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting. Like I said, I was up on it. I liked the most of it, but with the politic thing with him, the problem is when you're an icon, you don't have an age. You know what I'm saying? So nobody looks at you as 20, 23. Everybody looks at you as, if you say something, everybody listens. So with that being said, like, that's why everybody is more, with LeBron right now. LeBron speaks out. LeBron does this. Well, he was 26 then, but he's 50 something now, and he's never spoke out. So to the day.
But I think, and just overall opinion, and I think like LeBron, the way LeBron grew up puts him in a different mindset. Yeah. Because Jordan grew up traditional mother father household, 3 years at North Carolina, college student. You know what I mean? He got to do all that. Like he got to be a freshman on campus. You know what I mean? Like being a freshman on campus, and still like me being a freshman on campus. Larry, did you put any money in my account? So you got to do that. I think LeBron just been doing a little more, had to grow up a little bit faster, sit down and make business deals at 18 and 19.
And I think that's part of like what you said. So LeBron saw firsthand the hardships of what goes on in inner city urban communities, or poor communities. So Michael Jordan necessarily didn't. Yeah. So LeBron, just like you say, if I hit the Powerball, I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna do that. I think it was kind of a thing like that, man. Once I get on, I want to be able to give back to something that I wish I had when I was a kid. Yeah. It was sort of kind of easy. But this is the reason to me why we talked about it the last a couple shows ago with the Jordan thing, is the reason why I kind of disagree is, like, say for instance, this show right here. Say for instance, we're watching this show. You got people that come on that weekly. They watch us or whatever. But just say for some instance, somehow this show became the biggest sports talk show in America. Yeah. Now all of a sudden, do I become the voice of Chester politics when I've never spoken on it, never got involved in it, but because this show is on ESPN or whatever, now I'm required to speak out of the, you know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying I'm gonna speak out about some things I feel passionate about, but I'm not the authority on it. You know what I'm saying? I don't all of a sudden just become, Corey Long or guys that are doing it right now.
They've been doing it forever.
That's into it. That's like my man Lee. That's into the city, and so just because you become a celebrity or you get some fame, what it is that you do doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do this other thing. You know what I mean? Why is it then become required when it's not required of anybody else? Yeah.
Well, that's us. We put it on ourselves. Part of us. We tell celebrities they're role models. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't do this. You can't do that. We put that stature on them. No, you married. You got to show a married life. You can't run around like the person that's watching you on TV every day. So we do it We do it. We put these people on much higher pedestals, And for the most part, that don't mean that that's dumb. You know, like you said, like if it's not him to speak about it, it's not him to speak about it. But when you talking about pluses and minuses, you got to give the plus to somebody that does speak about it. It's just what it is. I mean, you know, you are Himbert, you are down because you don't do it. You know, that's like, you know, a point guard. If he don't get rebounds, all right, he the better rebounder. He's a center, but he's still the better rebounder. You know, it's just what it is.
But this is the thing, though. Just because you speak out doesn't mean that what you say is always correct or applauded. Right. So
you need some action. I think
doesn't mean that, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, look, you look at Jay-Z, right? He did a lot of stuff coming up where people was behind him, cheering him on. He did one thing where people disagreed with, and all of a sudden now
he's hated.
Sell out, he's this, he's that.
People coming at his
neck.
I mean?
So just because you speak out or you do things or you're active doesn't always mean that you are, you know, active in the correct.
Oh yeah. I mean, long as you like Jay-Z and like LeBron, long as you're doing it for your cause and your reason. I'm not doing it for everybody else. I'm doing it for my cause and my reason. You know, like you said.
It makes you know, like you know, you guys are talking about. You can be and we've seen this in history, and we've been a part of, you know, whether it's football, basketball, whatever, we've been sports athletes. The best running back on your team, the best scorer on your team, might not be the best decision maker off the court, you know?
No.
Or the best player on those teams, how about they're just not going to make the best coaches? The guy that was at the end of the bench who didn't get any time, he could make the better coach than all of them. Right. So what does it mean? Does it mean just because you're the best that you're going to say things that mean the most? No, it doesn't mean that, you know? No. So that's the problem I have with our society. You know, it's like, okay, this guy was the top money earner. He's the best player. But how about if he opens his mouth, he might embarrass himself, you know what I'm saying? How about this guy that's at the end of the bench might be more suited to speak than him? Yeah. But because we look at, you know, how pulverizing the figure is, we automatically put this title on, they should do something. Maybe I don't want to hear anything from him because what he might say might be the wrong shit that comes out of his mouth. How about that?
Yeah. I mean, that's just like, if you remember when the stuff with Kaepernick was going on, a lot of people was mad at Cam because Cam got asked a question and he breezed over. He didn't say what he should have said. You know what people felt he should have said. Right. You know, he breezed over the question. You know, and a lot of people was upset at him for that. You know,
but you know, I've been around guys, man. They on the court, they great dudes. Off the court, not so great. I don't want them saying anything because not only you might destroy yourself by speaking, you might destroy everybody by speaking. So how about you just stay over there? You know what I mean?
Yeah, some are called, some just went.
But that's like a Westbrook guy, though. That's like a Russell Westbrook person that you describing. You know what I mean? Russell Westbrook is someone that can just destroy everything by speaking. You know,
and they
Russell Westbrook, and it's interesting. Russell Westbrook had a full academic scholarship to Stanford. Russell Westbrook is a nerd. Like the irony about Russell Westbrook, he dresses funny and everything, but he went to UCLA to play basketball. But he was already like he went to Stanford on pure academics. Like,
and this is the thing too with Westbrook. Because he doesn't necessarily say anything, and he's emotional. So most of the time we hear him speak, he's speaking from emotion. But other than that, we rarely hear him talk. Unless he's doing emotional things. So we can't say what you know what I mean? He just doesn't get involved in that. But the thing is, for some reason, it's okay for Russell Westbrook to not get involved in that. It's okay for, you know, like when the China thing happened, I don't remember them talking to Russell Westbrook. I remember them asking James Harden questions about it. You know,
and LeBron.
And LeBron, who's, you know, but just it's almost like people want to put you to the test. Like, you know, something happens. So now we all live in this country. So if something happens and I want to speak on it, I don't need you, especially now in the era of social media, I don't need you to put a microphone in my face.
I get on
my thoughts on the subject. You know what I'm saying? But it's almost like people do that to kind of, they want to bait you into saying something off the wall or saying something, you know, controversial, or, you know what I mean? Like, I can go right to my Twitter account and say whatever I have to say about whatever just happened. I don't need you to do it. You know what I'm saying? And it's almost like nowadays people try to, you know, they want to make you, you know, have an opinion. They want to make you voice your opinion, whether you want to or not. Because if you don't, if they ask you that question and you don't respond, then here comes the articles of he's not conscious, or he doesn't care, or he's only about this.
I forget. It was the actor. I think it was one of the Wayans brothers, and he said, like, you know, I'm in the industry, you know, I'm in the acting, I'm making movies, and I'm doing pretty good. But he said the one thing they can always come at you was like, but you didn't cure racism. Like, you know, you may have done great at the box office, but you ain't cure racism. You didn't speak on this at this important time. Well, I mean, that's not their job to do. They're to be the best that you can. And if you want to, you know, to speak on things of different nature, that you can, and direct your energies towards that. And people have a perception. We only get the perception that we see, or the perception that is promoted to us. And it was interesting because with the Westbrook thing, and I was just reading up on Westbrook, and you know, I found out because everybody sees he's always emotional, as a burst, whatever. And I found out about Westbrook. I was like, oh, Westbrook is like really like a super nerd guy. Like he said,
hey, we got some mad scientists out here.
Yeah, he just, you know, he had the grades and everything because the guy had taught him in high school. And he was saying that, you know, Westbrook was going to Stanford on academics. So he probably could speak on some different things, like, you know, moving forward, or have some thoughts on things. But that's just not him. That's just not the move he makes. And I think they're always going to, like I said before, they're always going to look, you know, for the negatives on individuals. And that's
it. You're always going to be not perfect. You know what I'm saying? So that's just
that's why I said just leave it up of all things, and who knows what you know people have done behind the scenes, or whatever.
You look at I always look at the media kind of the adversary. You remember when Richard Sherman did his thing with the Crabtree Can't Guard Me? That was kind of like his introduction to the world, as far as speaking and people knowing who he was. And instantly he was a buffoon. He was a thug. He was this and that. Until people started looking and said, "Oh, wait a minute, this guy's intelligent. He's this. He's that." Now, if you notice when he speaks, there's very few of these reporters that's quick to jump on the other side because they know he's going to engage them in a debate. Probably going to make them look stupid.
Oh, absolutely. When you got a master's degree from Stanford, you know, and now you are wealthy
and from Compton.
Who's gonna mess with you?
Right.
Like, where do you want to take it? You know, where do you want to wrestle, or do you want to go to the books?
Nah, because I remember
finances. What part of the game do you want to? So,
imagine LeBron, and like I said, I applaud him for speaking out like he does, but sometimes the things that he says, he might misspeak, and it's a little bit off base, and it can be misconstrued a little bit, you know, his intentions. But imagine LeBron with that Richard Sherman type of energy. Now he's sitting there and engaging you back and forth, debating what you said, what I said, and what you said, and well, what did you do?
And one of the things that, you know, down the line inspired me to do this was that whole Richard Sherman thing, because I remember I did a Facebook post. I was like, look, I got a degree from Millersville, but if you catch me after a Tony Romo interception, I'm saying things in my living room going off. You may never know I graduated from Millersville. So I said that. I was like, that's the.
Be like that, huh?
I was like, so when you in the heat of the moment and stuff is going on, you can't take that one clip and now we're going to extrapolate back like your whole life. That's who you are as a person or individual. I was like, nah, what are you talking about? Like, you know, sometimes you just snap.
And I can attest to that Tony Romo example. I can firsthand attest to that.
it's like crazy. You know, the language gets really, really, really crazy down there. People don't even know that. Like, you know, but it's certain things for certain situations, and that's the whole point.
The raccoon's a fighter. We already know that.
But
don't get him in the corner. Don't get.
let's just say one of them Tony Romo picks. I felt like Trey from Boys in the Hood with Dope Boy after Ricky got killed.
Dang.
Wasn't no Millersville degree in there.
It's crazy to say, man, and they just take that one aspect and they're running and be like, what the heck are you talking about? I'm like, because he was yelling at the reporter. I was like, what the hell? Like this after the game, what are you gonna do? Like
and out of all your speeches, that's the most viewed speech on YouTube. You know what I mean? That one.
Yeah. Yeah, well, but it's a little people get. You have to remain cool. There's a little and I know this is an African American male. You got to hold your temper. People get very because people are frightened from you from the beginning. And then they become, if you get your temper out in public,
they look at you,
and then you more.
The sad part about
you get more scared. It's honest. It's the reality.
Nobody has to do anything to you. I mean, you don't have to do anything to anybody. They will be the aggressor, and they will be surprised that you got aggressive. That's the part that I don't get.
Yeah.
It's like, so you're supposed to say this and do this to me, and I'm just supposed to say, okay. Well, how about it's sort of a beast inside that when you say that and when you do that and the beast is unreleased, then I become the bad guy. What part of the game is that?
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
I don't know nothing about that.
Because that's just one of the things about society, and I think getting back to the Pippen thing real quick, I think Pippen, like we had talked, is a great player, tremendous player, and I think really. I think really, in all honesty, when we talk about the LeBron is more like that Pippen, Magic Johnson player. He was like his skill sets more go towards the all aroundness of Pippen and the passing of LeBron. Passing of Magic. So it was always funny. Like they would always compare, Jordan and LeBron because Jordan's the GOAT or whatever. But I think LeBron's skill sets mirror Pippen. It's like a Pippen Magic combination. Like his game on offense is like Magic.
A special combination.
Yeah, you do that, and it's different. It's not like that just flat out scoring assassin. I'm taking that. But it's interesting because if you look at LeBron and you look at it's funny because if you look at LeBron, his coming up, he kind of came up like Iverson, mom, him, and both of them were loyal to their friends and the people they came up with. LeBron's a little more organized, but I think that's the part where you see where people just have to take the responsibility to raise themselves and put themselves into certain situations, and that's why I think, like Doug said, he gives out more. It was always more than him. He was growing up, and he was like a little more looking towards it. Mike was like, "It's about me. I'm gonna be an assassin on this thing. I'm gonna knock cats out," and that's all he had to focus on. Growing up, it's just being the best that he could be and moving forward. So it'll be interesting to see how things plays out with the NBA and how many more seasons that he has left, and looking for the next. Any word? Anybody heard anything? Does Ben have a jump shot? Is Ben going to come back with a jump shot post COVID? I mean, any positive about anybody heard anything on the streets? This is my little Sixers thing.
I might have been. What I might have done, it could have been a small inkling of it's a possibility, but because of the gyms being closed, I'm gonna say no. You can't forget. We can go back to I don't know what show it was, what episode, about what Shorty said about Ben.
Yeah, bushel
for that bushel.
Number 2 females.
Number 2 female bushel crabs.
Dude. Yeah, you already got me once, man. You won't get me again on that. I have 0 faith.
Seen enough, Doug?
Yeah.
Doug's calling it a wrap.
I done seen enough of him getting to the elbow and then just pivot. Yeah.
So is the Brandon Ingram draft looking better for you? Or do you still take Ben?
I mean, I don't know, man.
We have to wait. You got one more year to find out. I mean, I'm not a Ben hater, but you just got to be able to, even if he don't shoot, he still go to the rim and dominate.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, if he do that, take over eventually. You got to get a shot. I mean, eventually.
The thing with him though, he shoots a high percentage, right?
He dunks. I mean, that's all he's not shooting past 3 feet.
Right. So I mean, that's the good thing.
Yeah.
When he puts up, most of the time he makes. He's just not putting up enough.
Yeah, he's not the floor spread, and you need that if you're going to be a point guard. You got to be able to shoot a little bit.
I think he needs to be moved off the point. That's first. I think he needs to become a slasher. But if you move him off the point, now you're taking so much of his brain off the game. Like him being a point, he has that court, that vision.
He can still be a point forward like Paul Pressey, LeBron.
I think that's what's hurting him. His IQ is so high, he's overthinking too much.
I think he's just terrified to shoot.
And I think he's overthinking it too much. He's taking too much into it. And I think if he misses a three, it's like he missed 10 straight.
See, is his IQ high or is he just a gifted passer?
I think his IQ is high.
Sometimes he overpasses.
IQ is high.
No, I agree. He's just a gifted passer because
part of your IQ says take that shot when you open.
Yeah,
I think he's overthinking it.
He's compensating. That's why he's just a gifted passer. He's compensating because he can't shoot.
He's basically Sunni. He's basically Jeff George.
Yeah. You gotta. It's more to the position than just the skills.
Yeah.
So I see Doug is done with him.
Gifted passer, but decision making.
Yeah.
Or the model with the bad breath and the chipped tooth. She's gorgeous until she smiles.
So I think Doug is officially fully done with him. Like I think Doug would be giving away a jersey if he had one right now.
Doug has his legitimate reasons.
Yeah, I'm at the point where he just got to show me. Like, I got to sit down and watch the game.
I'm not expecting it. It's Missouri. You show me state.
I'm not mad at you. Look, Alex Smith won, 12 games with us, and I was done with him. I still wanted to trade him, and we ended up trading. Like, Alex Smith went up. Listen, I was there when Alex Smith lost so many games for us, man. I don't want to see Alex Smith in the San Fran jersey no more. But he went on a winning streak, and I still was done with him. So I'm cool, and I understand where you're coming from,
Yeah,
I watched both those so many picks.
It's going to be interesting to find out. If he comes back, if he comes back with the ability to shoot anything 15-footer. I'll have to wait to see it. I'll just have to see when I see it. Very difficult to win a chip without doing that, I believe. But we shall see moving forward on my mini Sixers Ben report. But keep an eye out as restrictions are lifted. Keep an eye on the courts. If he's out there jumping, shooting J's, trying to get things going. Definitely. Well,
I don't think that rookie contract got him an indoor court. I don't think he got no court.
Well, they re-upped him. He's money's not the issue. They already re-upped him.
Second house.
He got over $100 million guaranteed. Like
he's good. He's good. Basketball court in it.
His dad was a pro player. He had courts growing up. You know what I mean? You talk about having stuff. He had stuff. No doubt.
Somebody knocked on the next door neighbor door to shoot some shots. Like I don't know who it was, but I heard it. Yeah, I don't know how you'll have basketball athlete if you don't have a court, even a pullout. You have something at your house.
Definitely. Well, fellas, man, it's been a good session. Check out that last dance episodes 9 and 10. I gotta see if this was a hangover or he had the flu or the Mungarian, whatever. Definitely.
Yo, what's the show? It's a show on is it A&E? It's like First 48, but it's like the other side of First 48. It's like after they catch them, they do the trial and everything. And
no, I don't know. I'm saying
supposed to be a show. It's only one season, but it's like 20-something episodes.
I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up.
I'll send it through when I get it.
All right, cool.
All right, fellas.
But definitely, everybody, stay safe. Get out and enjoy the weather. I'll probably go for another little walk, even though I did my cardio this morning. It's nice
out.
out.
Anybody watch The Prodigal Son yet? Anybody?
It's grilling season.
Nah. You see, might have to go get me a pit or something like that, a barbecue grill.
It's grilling season.
Grilling.
You watch The Prodigal Son?
No, you said it's grilling season.
What's that?
Grilling food, barbecue.
So no, you ain't watch no TV?
Grilling season.
Yo,
I ordered me a fire pit though.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, they go to firewood right here. See the firewood?
Oh, you good to go then? Are you going to barbecue or just sit around there and roast marshmallows?
Roast marshmallows, grab me like marshmallows. So
oh, okay, like the thing. All right, cool. But everybody, be safe out there. Peace out.
Peace.